Meet the founder of Sea2C Foundation, Kirk Kellerhals. He was born in the city of Da Nang during the height of the Vietnam War. Adopted as a child by a family in the U.S. with the belief that his birth parents had been killed in the war. After 48 years, Kirk discovered the truth about their fate. Through his foundation, Kirk seeks to help reunite other war orphans with their birth families, and in helping them heal from a lifetime of emotional stigmas attached to being part of that tumultuous time in history.
I was born in Vietnam during the height of the Vietnam War in 1969. And soon after I was born, I ended up in an orphanage in Da Nang, the Sacred Heart Orphanage. I was adopted when I was about 2.5 years old by an Army major that was serving in Vietnam at the time. Moved to the United States, but as an Army brat, I lived all over the place, all over the United States, and spent a lot of time over in the Far East in different areas over there. I never actively looked for my parents, my birth parents, because I was under the assumption my entire life that they were killed in the war. You know, for all I knew, they were dead. So in 2017, when I finally did take a DNA test, it was simply to settle a bet between my wife and I, because there was this ongoing joke, kind of a bet between us, trying to figure out what my ethnicity was, because I knew half of me was Vietnamese, the other half was this big question mark. The funny thing is, the only reason I took the DNA test was because there was a Groupon special for it. I know my wife had asked me to take it before, but I thought it was a waste of money. It was pretty expensive to me at the time, but then when I saw Groupon for half off, I figured, why not? So I ended up taking the test, and then lo and behold, 30 days later, I got the shock of my life. I got an email from someone, and the subject line on the email simply said, "Looking for my son." And then the name on there was NGA. And I thought, okay, this is a scam. This is some rich Nigerian prince trying to, ask me to hold part of his inheritance for a small commission and yada, 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 Less than 5 minutes later, I got another email, and it was from the DNA company. And the DNA company subject line on that email said, parent-child match. It was just like a ton of bricks hit me. It was at that moment that I realized that name in the previous email was not African, but was indeed Vietnamese, and this was most likely my mom. So you can imagine what was going through my head, but I did find out after making the phone call that it was indeed my mother. And not only did I find out that my birth mother was alive and well, found out that she was alive and well, living in Texas, and had been living in the United States longer than I had been. And to top that off, I also found out in that same phone call that my birth father was still alive and well and living up in Syracuse, New York. So in the span of less than 60 seconds, my world was turned upside down. And on top of that, I had siblings on both sides of my birth mother and my birth father's side that I didn't know existed. And I was 47 years old at the time. So you can imagine going nearly 48 years of your life thinking your birth parents are dead, that you have nothing to show for your past, and then all of a sudden you just are completely overloaded with this new family. All right, it wasn't long after I had reconnected with my birth family and all these events happened that I realized what a blessing and what a gift it was. It was something that is rare, not only just to find a parent, but to find both parents, and on top of that, to find both parents that are open, willing, and accepting and wanting you to be a part of the family, and both birth parents who just happen to live in the United States and are alive and well. So I knew that was a huge blessing, because I've come across and met other adoptees that didn't have it so good. They're still looking for a family. They haven't found family, or even worse, they found family that didn't want anything to do with them. So I knew this was a huge gift and a huge blessing, and I knew there was something I needed to do with it. But for 2 years, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I had no clue what it was I was supposed to do with this blessing, but I just knew that it was too big for me to keep to myself. I knew that I had to pay it forward. I knew that I had to do anything I could to help other adoptees like me who are looking for identity, looking for family, looking for answers. I knew there was something I had to do to help them. And in the process of all this happening, I was able to have the opportunity to embark on a project, a documentary about what it's like to be an orphan, what it's like to be from Vietnam and to be a Vietnam orphan, and all the issues that adoptees and orphans from Vietnam deal with, and how reconnecting with families is such a challenge. During the process of researching for this documentary project I was on, I met another adoptee who was also at Sacred Heart Orphanage, which blew my mind, because the probabilities of meeting someone from the same orphanage during the same time frame, 8,000 miles away, nearly 50 years ago, to me was just astronomical. So I met this adoptee. Her name was Rachel Galvez, and Another amazing thing is that she found her birth mother a month after I found mine. In talking with her and just comparing our stories, more importantly, we compared how it affected us. And what I discovered with Rachel was she had a very, very similar heart to mine as far as wanting to take these blessings and pay them forward, because we had both been blessed with very loving adoptive parents, grew up in very loving homes, had every opportunity in the world, and then some that any child growing up in the United States would be. And we both knew that there was so much more that we needed to do with this blessing. We thought, why not start a foundation? So we started this foundation. It's called the Sea Coast to Coast Foundation. It stands for Southeast Asian Coast to Coast Foundation, or Sea2C for short, as we call it. But we embarked on this to not only help other adoptees, but we also have a very strong sense of gratitude for our servicemen and our servicewomen who serve in the military and do so much for us to be able to have the freedom to simply sit here like I am right now and be able to talk about my experiences with the Vietnam War. My name is Kirk Kellerhals, and this is my voice.